Okay, so now that I've walked you through all of the installation instructions for the Angel CMS, and we have a deployment installed here at test.app, let's go ahead and customize this piece here. So if I want to change this home page, of course you may already know, if I go to the admin panel and log in here, then I can go and edit this home page, and we can change this text here. We'll have it say my site. And we'll replace all of this text with some filler text here. And we'll save that. If I come back and refresh, so we've gone ahead and updated that. But let's say that I want to go ahead and maybe change this background color, maybe make this a couple of columns here. Let me show you how to do that. So if I come into my terminal and we issue an artisan command from our project root here, PHP artisan, I believe it's view publish Angel core. That'll go ahead and publish all of the views for the CMS package so that you can edit them. And as you can see, this folder just popped up right here in the views folder in my app directory. And I can drill down into that, and we can actually edit this template for the front end right here. This is what is loaded on the front end. Okay, and let's go ahead and give ourselves a second page here, just to make things a little bit clearer. We'll go ahead and put in an about page. And we'll go ahead and save that. Okay, so, and let's go ahead and add it to the menu system as well. So we'll add that link to the existing page about us. Okay, so now that I have 2 pages to work with here. So let's go ahead and, for instance, let's change the background to, let's change it to black. So you can see I'm changing this template here, and it's immediately updating this page over here. So this is the template.blade. So here's the front end right here, is anything that is not in this admin folder is in the front end. In fact, go ahead and just delete this admin folder, because the way these folders work is anything that's in your packages Angel core will overwrite the views that are actually within your vendor folder here from where you installed the Angel deployment. So you only really want to keep files in here that you're actually overwriting, just to make it clear what files you've actually edited. At least that's how I like to do it. There's no harm in leaving the files there, but I just go ahead and I just focus on the ones that I'm going to be editing right now. And then if I want to customize other views later, I can pull them one by one from this vendor Angel core source. If I come into the views here, they're any of the views that you copy out of here and follow the same structure into this views packages here. These will overwrite the views that you have in here. So as you can see, here's the template with the original background color, and here's the new one that I have up here with the white background color. Okay, so you can go ahead, and if you wanted to, you could swap out Bootstrap for Foundation. You could load your own CSS framework. You can come into your public folder here. You can make a CSS directory. You can make a JS directory. We'll make our own new CSS file here. And we'll call it master.css. And I'll just have a body background. Let's go with yellow this time, just to show that we're making this change here. And I'll come back to the template. So this is the template that I'm editing up here within my views package here. So I can now include this style that I've just created by just including, this is the CSS folder / master.css. So then I can get rid of these styles. Maybe I'll pull them into this master style over here. And there we have that yellow. I'll go ahead and change that. That is burning my retinas. Okay. So let's say we want to go ahead and break this into 2 columns, and each one of those columns be editable. So the way that we usually do that is we actually, here's the page controller, and you can see if I write something in this this page template, I should say, then it appears here below the page's HTML that's rendered out. So this is just a This is just a blade that extends the core template here. And as you can see, the core template is just an HTML skeleton. It yields the meta, yields CSS, yields all the content, and just has some JavaScript and yields the JS. This just includes, by default, jQuery, Bootstrap, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So you don't actually want to edit this default page view because this is the page view that all pages that haven't been customized yet will use. So you can just leave this page view alone, and we'll just create our own new folder, and we'll call it pages, and we'll make a new, let's make a new blade called home.blade.php. And let's just copy the contents of this page view into the home view, and maybe we'll change this to say my customized home view. And maybe we'll have these 2 rows here. So let's do a row, or I mean 2 columns. Well, let's do MD. And in the first column, we'll output the page's HTML. We'll just move that guy up into there. And that's this HTML that's from the back end that you edited there. All of this stuff. And we'll make a new module for this second column. We'll just call it second column. And we'll put in other stuff goes here. Let's make this a heading. And then let's put in some different filler text in there. And so you can add as many modules as you want, and you can echo them out wherever you want to in this customized template that you're making for this page. And I just make a single blade for each page that I want to customize in this way. So if you want to output a modules, it's as simple as echoing out modules to the 0 HTML. So 0 would be the first module. You're programmers, you know this. 2 would be the second module. 0 would be the first module. 1 would be the second module, and so forth, I should say. So I'll go ahead and save this. So that page has been updated. Okay, so now that we've saved that module and we have echoed it out right here in this view, it is time to make sure that this view is loaded instead of the default page view for this home URL here. So the way that we do this is we create a new controller, and we'll call it page controller.php. And actually on the GitHub homepage for the Angel CMS here, you can see that there is a stub for it in the extending the core section. So if I come down to extending the core and I copy out this stub, so we have class page controller, which is extending Angel core page controller. And if I come into the Angel core page controller, you can see that the show method, it simply grabs the page with the requested URL and spits out the default view, this core page view, with the appropriate page pulled from the database. And what it'll do is if it finds a method with the same name as the URL attempting to be accessed, so for in this case about here, if it finds a method with the name about, it'll return that method instead of returning this view. So, and the default parameter here is set to home. So when there's no URL, as there is on the homepage of the website, there's no actual URL, it's not /home, although /home will work just as well. But just without the home, it'll by default go to the home method. So in my page controller, we're going to have a home method here. And now that we're extending the page controller, we just need to overwrite the page controller in the inversion of control container. So if I open up our routes here, and that's also, that little tidbit is right here as well, we're going to offset unset the page controller from the CMS, and we're going to create a singleton with our new page controller with just the root namespace there that we've created here. So now if I come back here and I refresh this page, we'll see that you are home. But what we really want to do, if I come back to this page controller, is we want to return that view. So we'll return the view make, and and we're passing this data into it because the data has already been populated with the correct parameters. And so here we're just making pages.home, and that should pull up our new view with the customized 2 columns here. So I went into views pages.home, which is where we were creating this this new little skeleton here. So it still fills out, it still fulfills all the requirements of the page view, but we've just customized it a bit for this specific home page, and without affecting the About Us page at all. So now we have these 2 columns, these 2 responsive columns, and your client doesn't have to worry about how the code works. They can just come into the edit page and they can edit each column specifically here. So you can see this is the first column and this is the second column, and they can edit their content without having to worry about the responsiveness in this HTML skeleton. And so that's really helpful. Okay, so let's say you want to add a footer menu down here. So let's go ahead and come back into the admin section. Let's come into the menus. Let's add a footer menu. And we'll just be boring and add the same, kind of the same things that the header menu has. But you can imagine you can have different links down here, of course. So we'll just have this footer menu that we've created with these 2 links. And as you can see, when I hover over the edit here at the bottom of my browser down in this section, you can see that it, if I go to edit it, it's been given an ID of 2. That's usually the best way to access menus. You could pull them, you can query them however you want to, but I prefer to pull them like that. So now that we have a footer menu in here, you do this the Laravel way now, which is basically however you want to. I'll show you how I do it though. One way of doing it. Since each of these menus has a polymorphic relationship, it's actually totally okay to not query them in a cluster. You can query them individually because each of them needs to compile its resources anyway. So if I come into the template, I should say it's a polymorphic relationship through the inversion of control container. It's a whole fun system. So let's go ahead and just put in a footer here, just for fun. And we'll go ahead and do a, let's see if I remember how this works. Let's look at the header here. So the header looks like you need to have a UL because when you do this menu, well, yeah, you can see the header here. So how this header works is it's just a row div with a UL, and we have this menu find one, and we're calling display on that menu ID. So this footer that I just made, I can come here into this template. We can just basically do the same thing, but we're going to find the ID of 2 and display it. So if I refresh here, there's that footer menu that we just created. So I can, shift these around. Let's add a link to, I don't know, Google. We'll save that. We'll pull that into the middle here. And I'll refresh, and you can see that there's Google chilling out in this footer menu. So you can go ahead and customize all your styles. You can pull out all the jQuery and all the Bootstrap and everything, and customize this template to your heart's content. But I'm going to leave it in there for now. And if I come back into this home blade, so what you can see here is, of course, if you want to add some styles, you can either include your style sheet here, or you can just go ahead and pop in a new styles, and you can, do whatever you want in here. We'll change the paragraph font size for fun. And we'll call it, let's see, did we put any text in the About Us page? We did not do that yet. Let's come back into the pages. We'll edit the About Us page. We'll put some text. We'll save that. So there's some text on the About Us page. So now that I have a home page, I can copy that and rename it about.blade, and in here I can say font size 10 EM, and we'll just keep this as a default view. So I'm customizing the about page now, since I've made this about blade. So here's the home blade, where we have these two columns with the pages HTML and the module 0 HTML over here. And then on the about page, we just have this, just a single page HTML. But as you can see, this font size is not working yet because we still need to come back into the page controller, and we need to make an about function, about method that returns this about blade instead. So pages.about. So as you could see, you could totally, do whatever you want in here. You can load your own models and your own resources, anything that you need to do from the database there. If you'd like to do it from there, you're more than welcome to. And of course, you don't have to have a method for each page. If you don't have that method, it'll just return the default page, no problem. It's only if you want to customize things that you have to have this method and this page controller. That is the quickest and easiest way to go about it. So in the next videos, we'll be going through how to actually create your own modules back here. If you want to have some FAQs or some testimonials or a blog or anything like that, you'll be able to either install, we'll show you how to install modules, and we'll also show you how to create your own really easily, just using the built-in CRUD controller in the framework. So go ahead and subscribe if you're looking forward to that, and we will have more for you hopefully soon, within the next week or two for sure. We'll get more coming your way.